What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock, presented by Stokastic and myself. I'm Eric Lindquist here. At Eric Lindquist is where you can follow me. As always, on these lovely Mondays, I am joined by my friends, Chris. My friends, but you're not plural. You're an individual. This isn't me, myself, and Irene, Eric. Chris Spags is his name. You can follow him at Chris Spags. Makes my life easy most of the time. I make it hard on myself. How you doing, my dude?
Excited to be here. I feel like my cure for a Garfield Monday is getting a little Eric Lindquist in my life on stay. You're my lasagna if I'm Garfield. I just want to nibble you up. Have my little kitty claws in there. Get cheese all over him.
Give me a little round.
It's a weird start. You said you were presenting the show too, so I think we're off to a weird start here that you only get on the MLB shows these days.
Honestly, anytime that I decide that I'm going to put a tweet thread out into the world, everything in my life just goes to shit because I have to spend so much time digging into so much stuff that I've already looked at. It's not that. It's just that trying to verbalize it the same way as like scrolling through it on Fangraphs or Baseball Savant just takes a little bit longer. And I realized when I woke up this morning, I haven't done an MLB thread this year. And so it was kind of like, oh God, this is going to be the written word put into gospel on X for my Lord and Savior, Elon Musk. I must take time and energy out of my day, way too much of it, to break down 8 baseball games. But it was a nice reminder that on days like tomorrow with 15 of them, no way I'm doing a tweet thread. There's just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, look, the tweet thread game is thriving. Our old pal Sal Vetri has been posting a lot on LinkedIn lately about the business behind his stuff. It seems like he attributes a lot of success is like to just posting threads. Initially, people were making fun of him for it and sticking with that thing and finding different ways to copyright around it. So if you are out there and you're like Eric, you're trying to build your little cloud out there and you're not lazy like me and just do YouTube streams and call it a day, Twitter threads, the way to go. And use ChatGPT too. Sal is like all over ChatGPT apparently.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Like for me, I don't know how I would go about doing the Chat GPT version of what I'm doing right now, but I definitely use it for some simulation stuff from time to time. I like to, again, when you're doing batter simulations too, I think it's really fun to experiment with because you can do certain things like when you put walk rate and then what's the hit by pitch potential of a specific hitter in a lineup. And you kind of factor those two in, and then you value hit props. And then you find something like Francisco Alvarez today, and you're like, you should bet his under 0.5 hits per plus 150. And then you know what he does in his first at bat? Gets a hit. Yeah, and so you lost $50 you otherwise would have had by not researching that, Spags.
Well, for ChatGPT, you could also put in all of your scripts too. You could put all your little Lindy Lock scripts. Not that you're doing a lot of scripted stuff, but then it'll pick up your voice too and write it back to you. So maybe you watch these streams even one day and it can hear all the gems that we give out and all the puppet nonsense. It could do a great AI puppet maybe if they watch enough streams.
Ooh, we should get AI puppet Lindquist and have him battle against actual puppet Lindquist. And this can be Terminator, the Sesame Street Terminator, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd be up for it. I think anything that gets the Puppet Lindquist brand out there enough that I can launch a YouTube channel and monetize them appropriately. That's all we're dreaming of.
Yeah, just pull his pants down and make terrible foul
around.
What a time to be alive. Anywho, everybody, we're ready to rock. We've got a very, very small slate today. 2 games that aren't on the main slate that are going to be going a little bit earlier there. And grand total of 6. We're going to be talking about 6 baseball games ad nauseum going up until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Not us on the show until 10 p.m. Eastern time. That'd be egregious. But we get 6:35 the slate starts. We might not have the Dodgers lineup at lock, which is very fascinating. And I'm excited to talk through that spot. But with only 6 games on the slate, Spags, how does your philosophy change whatsoever as far as building lineups?
I mean, I don't think much changes here for the most part. I also, frankly, a lot of these slates that I've been on, mostly playing on the day is my highest volume where I'm doing shows, which is always smart to do. And a lot of the slates that I've had when we're doing content for Stokastic here, it's been a lot of these 6 to 8 gamers here. So I feel like I'm pretty accustomed to it. And there's a few teams today that I did not get as much in the Sims that I did kind of brute force my way to. I do want to attack Will Warren with the 4.6 implied runs going against him. And Baltimore does not come up a lot naturally in the Sims today. But the slate here, I mean, I feel like it's a lot of what we talked about in every slate I've done with Eric this year, where pitching is not that great. You're kind of choosing the lesser of a bunch of evils. There's one game with 2 good pitchers where they have, pretty good implied totals. But everywhere else at Eric, it's 5 runs or so in a lot of different spots. And even guys who I think look pretty good, like Nick Martinez, park upgrade there, potentially park factors not being in favor of him. Maybe a lot of things that could be troublesome even for the pitchers that we do like.
Yeah, Nick Martinez. We'll talk about him very much so. We'll also talk about this right at the onset of our show. Portfolio EV, 7-day free trial for all new users. I think it's a great opportunity for you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set it up over in playback here because that is an important thing that I should actually probably do. When it's all said and done, I'm going to hit the old go live button, make sure that it's ready to rock for us there. I'm going to set it up so that you can watch in real time as I am going through all of the best bets there over on the playback.tv/Stokastic channel that we've got rocked and ready to go. That'll be a very important facet of NBA Live Before Lock coming up after our program at the halfway point. So yes, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30. We'll build our lineups here now for the MLB. We'll talk through the entire slate, but Portfolio EV, that'll be rocking and rolling here the whole time. I am going to be sharing that screen share. You can now see directly on screen over there as there it is. There we go. I had that incorrectly done over on my side, but Portfolio EV, it is awesome sauce. You want to be checking it out right now. Greg's got best week of his entire bet thread of the entire year was last week. So shout out Portfolio EV for really, really making the people the money. And you guys want to check it out, 7-day free trial down at the link below. But let's start digging into this slate here. And again, that is all being shared right now in real time. Portfolio EV over on playback. So you can check it out. But we are really, really strapped for pitching today because we only have so many options. It's not that the pitching's terrible because we got Ronel Blanco, we got Jack Flaherty, we got Dustin May. These are all three guys pulling ownership. And rather than go through the salary tiers and going through all of that, I want to just ask you right from the onset, one pitcher that you have to start your lineups with, no matter what, who is it amongst those three?
I mean, I think based on my ownership right now, it's Ronel Blanco. He's got to think the best matchup on paper. Facing six guys that strike out above league average, cumulative K rate for the lineup going against him of 24.6%. Blanco himself, I think, also towards the better end on the slate. Highest chase rate, 47.5%. Highest swing strike rate at around 14%. So he's got the best stuff. He's got one of the better matchups. Team total against him under 4 points. And I think really, to me, that's one of the things on the slate that game theory-wise, maybe you view it a little bit differently, but it's hard to not get one of Flaherty or Ronel Blanco in that spot where you have both teams applied for under 4 runs. Every other game environment out there seems a little more favorable. It'll either be the weather itself or the implied run totals. So I think it's Blanco for me. I wouldn't critique anybody going to Flaherty's way either. I just think the matchup's a little bit softer going to Blanco's way, but which hill are you dying on today, Eric?
I'm dying on the Jack Flaherty hill. I'm going to go opposite of that a little bit. I totally get it. I get why. I mean, if you just look at my top 150 lineups here, and we just go into the pitcher section, Ronel Blanco is the guy that we're going to get the most of, and it has to do with salary at 8,300. But look how close. Like, it didn't matter what I was doing before the show. I ran some where it was like 4 and 3 mans. I was doing it where I was building only 5 mans. No matter how I constructed my lineups today, I just got the identical amount of both of them. And I think that that's about the right way of going about it. This is where it starts to get uncomfortable on the entire slate. And we'll talk about Feltner because I definitely agree of trying to get to some of him. I also think that this is going to be a big stand of mine as well. I'm going to get a little bit more, but I think when it's all said and done, I'm going to end up under on Ronel Blanco because I'm going to see more Feltner. I'm going to see more Will Warren as well. And I think that that's just kind of trimming some of the Ronel Blanco that I have to get to. And I feel so much better about what Jack Flaherty and that knuckle curve are capable of doing. You get to face basically an entire lineup of righties. You have Alvarez, who's very, 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 very good there from the left side. I don't want to poo-poo him, but it's not a great ballpark for lefty power. And then there's just no lefties to be found. They're going to be trying to pull it against Jack Flaherty into Crawford boxes. And this is just not the recipe for success against him. I feel really, really high on Jack Flaherty. Like this season, 30.6% K rate too to go along with it. I'm not even asking for that going forward, even though he was at 29.9% last season, partially with the Dodgers. Detroit probably in hindsight wish they'd kept him around there at the deadline, but that's either here nor there. I think Jack Flaherty's your top option to get to on today's slate. I know we're kind of just grasping at straws. They're projected right around the same, but if you're building one lineup, I got to think Flaherty, finding a way to involve him, even with Coors Field on the slate, even with some of these other games, Ohtani existing as well, I still can find the salary to get to Jack Flaherty.
I mean, like, I would agree if you're paying up to be contrarian a little bit more. And for what it's worth, I got 37.3% Blanco, 36% Flaherty. So I think exactly where you were. I tweaked my stacks, but then I guess the pitching didn't move too much in terms of the exposure I got. I won't quibble with taking Flaherty here. I do think it's just a softer matchup. Again, like 6 guys that strike it over league average on the Detroit side versus 2. On the Houston side of the equation, team total a little bit higher for Houston as well. Only 0.2 runs, but it is still higher. And then you have Blanco being $1,700 cheaper. So like, again, if Flaherty were like 10% owned and Blanco were 30, 40, then I think you go to Flaherty more. But with these guys being, basically the same ownership and Flaherty being more expensive, I mean, do you think, Eric, in this matchup that Flaherty is like a $1,700 better pitcher? Because I'm not sure. I think that's where I have the biggest mental gap.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that it's, I mean, we've got 2 fantasy points difference. I think when you look at this slate and how we're going to play it, how many lineups you play is such an important question. Again, the way that I phrased it was like building out one lineup. Like I'm playing the 1-1-1, the 100K to first. I'm playing a lineup in that, playing a bunch in the $5. That's kind of the way that I've allocated my lineups today. I also have 150 and like mini max stuff. So like I'm still playing quite a few lineups here because I think being flat at pitcher to some extent is kind of the way to go. And I like these kind of slates because I can really play the ownership game with batters. And we have a couple of batters, not even in the Coors Field environment, that are going to jump way up because of lineup position and salary that we have. Pointing at you, Texas. How are you this fine day? Higashioka batting second. What are we doing here? But I definitely think that we've Kevin Pillar 2,700 on DK. Just so many ways that we're going to have some batters that we can get away from that are very, very chalky. I definitely think finding my way to Flaherty is going to be easier than what it was maybe before this show. Like the more that I run lineups, the more I'm having fun with this slate in a way that I wasn't really expecting. And I think Jack Flaherty's the guy that I'm probably going to want to give a boost to as we're moving things along here. And Ronel Blanco, I just don't know what the strikeouts are here against Detroit. I know it's the better strikeout matchup between the two, but like, is it that different? We've only got it at 2 fantasy points. And, if it comes down to being 1,700 to get certain batters in, sure. But I feel like the floor for Blanco as opposed to the floor for Flaherty, I want to get more Flaherty than Blanco when it's all said and done.
Look, I think it's reasonable. I mean, Flaherty's got the best pitch count per game on the slate. Obviously, some guys can get yanked early for injury or whatever, but 93 pitch count per game compared to 78 and change for Blanco over the last couple seasons. So that alone could, I think, push you to Flaherty as well and probably does impact the projection. And Flaherty, too, I think better stuff than Blanco on paper, 11 Ks per 9 versus righties. Blanco's at 9.5, 9.3 Ks per 9 versus lefties for Flaherty. Blanco's at 8. I think it's, to me, I think you really can quibble between it. I think the main thing for everybody watching this one, and especially if you are playing multiple lineups like Eric is talking about, especially in that $5 tournament on DraftKings, these are your 2 highest exposed pitchers, most likely if you're kind of following the sims, following the data. And you can quibble about which one's better, but I do think they're your clear number 1 and 2, and they should be in about 30 or lineups each, if not a little bit more.
Just sending a message to you there then as well. Anyway, we are live on playback, making sure everything is working all nice and dandy. And yes, the Positive EV tool is being shared over there here as well. We are live on the Stokastic YouTube channel and playback.tv/Stokastic. So you can check us out at either spot. And the Sims tool being shared over here right now. That is what is directly on your screen on YouTube. And over on playback, we've got Portfolio EV rockin' and rollin', or rockin' in a rhythm, Bob Brand. Isn't that the
Bob Brand? Yeah, you're good.
Makes me think of Saved by the Bell when they're dancing in the socks.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the Zach Morris's trash thing? Not to go on a tangent here, but like
Zach Morris is trash.
one of the best internet bits at a more simple internet time where you can just do quality content and it will get views.
Oh, you mean that? I love when he just starts listing off at the very end. He's just like, Zach Morris decided to poison his best friend. He also got beers for a bunch of nuns, and then he killed someone. Zach Morris is trash. They do such a good job of just like, oh man, I idolized Zach Morris growing up. That's not ideal.
Freeze in time was a dream of mine because you could do so many things, so many illegal things, naughty things, good things. You could win races and cheat in your high school track meets. You could do all sorts of stuff. You could do puppeteering, practice that.
I'm so confused. A little bit of that too.
You needed a homeless girl at one point, Zach Morrison. He did something unethical in that.
Really?
I forget what it was.
That wasn't nice. Eric looks like Screech. Fuck you, Paul the Prophet. No, I don't.
Well, I think you didn't look like Screech originally, but now that he's been dead for a few years, it's starting to really look.
Yeah, Dustin Diamond had himself a life.
He did. He went hard.
Rip. Poor guy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is here and there are these pitching options. And let's go to the Coors Field pitchers, because somebody just asked a second ago here. I had the comment up a second ago. Any interest in Elder as a pay low option versus the Rockies? Yes. I think him and Ryan Feltner are both in play to some extent. The only difference, and the main reason that I think Feltner is showing up in more lineups for us, $6K salary. We got a $6K salary here for Ryan Feltner, $7,800 that you have to be getting for Bryce Elder. Now, I kind of agree with you, and I think if there's one pitcher that I'm going to probably boost a little bit more than I should, it's probably Edward Cabrera when it's all said and done. But the point being, Ryan Feltner is $6K in Coors Field. Do you know what that does for your lineup? Everything. And we have some great hitting environments for just a 6-game slate. We've got some great offenses for just a 6-game slate. Spags, is Ryan Feltner somebody who's showing up in as many lineups for you as what he is in mine? Because what? I'm more than 3x the field at the moment. The Sims tool loves him.
Yeah, so I got a little bit less in my sim, got 13.5%, so still above the field, which I think is fair. It's not a great strikeout matchup versus Atlanta, no matter what. Certainly the 5.8 implied runs in Colorado are not going to make you feel that good. But the weather there is not fantastic. 60 degrees and change is not really anything. Obviously, you'll get a little bit of a boost from the air being a little bit thinner and all that. For the most part, though, it's not like ideal conditions. For Feltner, too, he's really limiting hard contact well, only an 88.1 exit velocity on average for him towards the lower end of the slate, and he's playing most of his games in Coors. I mean, he's been only a Rocky for the last few years. 134 ISO allowed to righties, 147 to lefties, so he's not giving up a lot of dangerous power either. Strikeouts aren't great, just shy of 8 versus righties and versus lefties, but maybe the strikeouts don't matter as much if you get that direct leverage against a really highly owned Atlanta team, and Atlanta team as well. That's coming up a ton for me in the sim. I mean, I got the most 3-man stacks, most 4-man stacks, and one of the most amounts of 5-man stacks I got with Atlanta. So I'm with you conceptually on Feltner. I like Elder a little bit more because of how much softer the matchup is. But Feltner, I think the one thing that he has going for him is, like, for a guy that pitches in Coors, and you see it in everybody else's numbers, like, he actually avoids power pretty well. Doesn't get stroked, too much. Pause to
what?
He doesn't get, as far as I know, he doesn't.
That had to be pre-planned. What's wrong with you?
I'm just trying to make the case for Feltner for you. He's not getting stroked too much.
God, yeah.
For Feltner, I think his best skill is kind of like an Andre Palante, where it's like you're not giving up a ton of dangerous contact, and you've somehow done that in the face of playing in Coors for your entire career. So that's a positive. But the strikeout stuff, I don't expect to be like real clean for him or anything.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be crazy clean for him either, but he's 6K, and that's really what it comes down to. He's your cheapest pitcher on the slate. I don't agree with that. He should be more expensive than Sagano, or Sagano should be cheaper than him, one of the two. Will Warren, probably a little undervalued. I mean, for the love of God, we have a 7K Patrick Corbin, but it is Coors Field, and that is an Atlanta offense that, despite their struggles or their apparent struggles to some people, it's still an above average offense against right-handed pitching. 107 WRC plus, 160 ISO. They can still smack at a base. So we are definitely paying close attention to the ownership here on a guy like Feltner, because I do think it's a nice point of leverage, and we can still get to the Atlanta stack. That is not an issue. Colorado, there's nothing you can do to stop me from playing Colorado today. And I know it's disgusting. I don't trust this offense, but they're so cheap. It's Bryce Elder on the other side, and we will continue on our merry way talking about pitcher and get to that point when we get to it. But Dustin May, how do you feel about him at 9,500? It's obviously a Miami offense that is gettable in the strikeout department against right-handed pitching. You get some of those lefties that should be in that lineup. We don't have it yet, but we're going to be waiting. Agustin Ramirez just went double dong. He's played in like 5 MLB games so far. You do have Matt Mervis, who should be up there, 36.3% K rate, almost all of that against righties, and his sample size doesn't end up in the lineup against a lot of lefties. You got a number of pieces there, Spags, that I think are somewhat gettable. I think it's going to come down to some lineup order for me in some ways, but like Dustin May, 9,500 against Miami. How do you feel?
So I'm under on Dustin May in my 150 set I did before the show. I got 19%, Fields at 30. I'm okay with that. I think one thing that jumped out to me, kind of rerunning my numbers, I also put in exit velocity because I wanted to get that in and didn't get a chance to do it before the season. Miami's actually got some guys that could smack the ball around a little bit. I mean, Eric just mentioned Agustin Ramirez, who's been killing it for the most part overall. High home run rate, certainly not going to last. But he's got a 93 exit velocity, one of the best on the slate. Jesus Sanchez, 92. Stowers, 91. Wagaman, 91 as well. You've got some guys that can actually hit the ball hard, at least, if not well, for Miami now. And not that Dustin May is a guy that's going to get smacked around too much, but like I think Miami's kind of evolving into a team that I don't want to necessarily go against every time out. Like Colorado, I'm pretty much taking the pitcher against every time they play, especially when they're not in Coors. For Miami, I don't know. I'm seeing some signs of life here, and Ramirez is the obvious one to point to, as a lot of power he's been creating so far. Probably won't last. But I would say for Dustin May here, like he's never been a guy that wows you with strikeout stuff, 19% K rate over the last couple seasons. He's not the guy that I'm like going to die on the hill of against a team that's, I think, a little bit more frisky than people realize because they don't know the names of the team at this point.
Shout out our guy, Sean Geezy. I mean, you guys, if you're not familiar by now, I don't know what to tell you. The guy has just been crushing it for the last year plus over here at Stokastic, just doing amazing work. I know he's got his Tails package as well. So you guys want to check out Sean Geezy and talk through process. The guy has awesome process, but he is asking, for some reason, I am loving Miami stacks against May. Am I insane? Please talk me out of it. No, I won't. I'm going to be getting to some Miami stacks. It's a 12-game slate. There are... in the sim, like when we look at the sim ROI after the fact, when you have Coors Field, when you have the Dodgers, when you've got Great American Small Park, I still think that there's enough power that exists and enough like move the line equity. Eric Wegman, 551 expected slugging, 388 xWOBA. Otto Lopez, 292 expected batting average, 360 xWOBA. Ronnie Simon, 329 xWOBA. Agustin Ramirez, I mean, these are just irrational numbers, only 17 batted balls in play, but 796 expected slugging. Matt Mervis, who I brought up before, 44.2% hard hit, 22-degree launch angle. Like, as bad as I thought this lineup would be. And then I didn't even bring up, like, Connor Norby, Xavier Edwards, who finds his way on base and runs all the time. Like, there are so many guys on Miami that I think are just sneaky. I'm not even saying you have to play a ton of 5-mans, but, like, 2 and 3-mans alongside some Coors Field stacks. I'm going to have it. How about you, Spags?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a ton sim-wise to be clear, but I do think when I go through the numbers here and I go team by team and look at it, it did stand out to me that just Miami looks like a more well-rounded lineup than you'd have. And, Dustin May, again, not a great strikeout guy. He also has the worst swing strike rate on the slate, worst chase rate on the slate. So you're going to get a lot of pitches over the plate that these guys can make something happen with it. Park factors, which have been okay so far this year, but in generally not the best in Dodger Stadium. But if they can make it work for him, like they could certainly, I think, get to a Dustin May. But it's Dustin May projects how he does. He's certainly one of the better projected players on the slate. People will be there a good amount. I'm with you in 5-mans for Miami. Do still feel a little bit tough, but Sean Geezy fucking knows. I see his name up top a lot more than my own, so I would take his word if he's putting in a super chat on it.
Is awfully good at the playing of the DFSs. He is
and the game theory too for him. I feel like is one observation for him every slate.
Awesome stuff overall. Like I don't know what to tell you other than Sean Geezy is the man. And I mean, it's been nice. I mean, I've had a couple 100K wins. You've had a couple of, I know you had the 40K win. Was that NBA?
It's 70, 20, and 10 in the span of a month. So okay. 100K combined, but not all in one. So that's like the thing. That's
stuck my left nut.
I know. You and Josh, like everybody, Greg, you've all got your 100K wins. I've not cracked 6 digits, which is, it's not a dick measuring contest, guys.
Yet.
Yeah, you got time.
Oh no, I meant the dick measuring contest.
Oh. I remember to win 100K. I'm like, DFS isn't dead yet. I'm still got a shot, but yes, the dick measuring as well.
LOL. Imagine touting Feltner. Have you played baseball DFS before? Because like it's about like a lot of leverage and not what I think is going to happen. I think most of the time Ryan Feltner gets his teeth kicked in, but like if I play a quarter of my lineups with a dude, all of a sudden I'm touting him. I'm talking about getting a lot of leverage on the field against something that is very bound, like something that happens a higher percentage of the time than is currently being shown in the marketplace. So, I mean, if we get to flip and it's Ryan Feltner at 15%, I'll feel pretty stupid, but as of right now, I feel pretty good about it. So it is what it is. Anywho, we got to continue talking about pitcher. We're taking our dear sweet time about this. Again, we got NBA Live before lock, 2-game slate coming up. Greg, Josh, then they'll be doing the playback show, giving you all the goodness that you need for that. But let's round out pitcher because there's one guy we haven't talked about yet. And I am very, 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 very interested in him. Will Warren is 6,800 Spags. Mm-hmm. His stuff plus looks good, and it's Baltimore. Did you know? Second worst run differential in baseball right now, the Baltimore Orioles. What a time to be alive. Bottom dwellers of the AL East by a ways. How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure our old pal Ship My Money not so happy with it. I think that's
Oh.
a bit of a downer. I think people expect a lot from Baltimore. Look, I got Will Warren a lot in the sim. I think this is a good get well spot on paper going against Will Warren, a guy giving up a 260 ISO versus righties, 190 ISO versus lefties, hard hit rate, one of the highest marks in the slate at 49.2%. Yeah, exit velocity is also the highest in the slate at 92.5. He's only faced 200 batters over the last couple seasons, so not a big enough sample size. But I think you're saying there's some positive underlying stuff for Will Warren, which I'm curious to hear about, because everything for me looks bad. Lowest soft contact rate on the slate. We got a lot of hard hits, not really getting guys to chase. Swing strike rates maybe a little bit higher. Some signs of life there, but I feel like this could be a spot where Baltimore gets going. But I feel like maybe you don't agree with me.
Say that again?
For Baltimore to get going versus Will Warren, because I just don't think Warren's stuff is actually that good. But he's 6,800, so I got him in the sim.
I think it looks okay. I mean, he's going to give up hard contact, and obviously this is a ballpark for lefty power. And Will Warren coming out there, if he's giving up the hard contact, it can go very, very poorly. But like, I think 6,800 does a lot on this slate, especially when it's outside of Coors Field, especially when it is, despite what I think about Baltimore's lineup coming into this season, it's missing, I think, two of their best hitters, Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Westberg. I almost said Westbrook, but that's kind of sad to even say just now. I definitely think that we'll see improvement. I think Cedric Mullins has had a great, unbelievable start to his season, but he's been carrying the load in terms of fantasy points per game. It's just him and Ryan O'Hearn. They're the only two positive hitters that I have in this lineup based on the early sample of this season. And we're a month into it. So I think Gunnar Henderson got a late jump on his year. He'll be fine. Adley Rutschman looked great in spring training. Right out of the gate goes yard. But it has been, I think, overall tough sledding for everybody in that lineup. I mean, Kierstead at the back of it. Mountcastle's had the worst start to his season humanly possible. I don't know. I think it's a decent enough back half of the lineup that Will Warren could maybe take advantage of for, you find 4 or 5 strikeouts down there. Not a lot of power being hit by those guys at the moment.
Yeah, I got 24% Will Warren it because the $6,800 price tag Sim's putting you there at the projection, which doesn't look that bad. But once I got that Will Warren number in, and I frankly wanted to attack him on the slate anyway, I immediately started to force myself to get more Baltimore to boost the exposures a little bit more there. When I predict my final lineups I put in for the tournaments I put in, I want to make sure to get some more Baltimore because I think Will Warren here, it's not a bad total going against him with 4.6 implied runs. But he's got a lot of underlying stuff that to me seems worrisome. And Baltimore to me also seems like a team, you look at the longer term sample size, they should just be better than they've been so far this year. So I'm more, I'm getting Warren. It's like Eric talks about a lot with these baseball slates. You play the pitcher. If you then don't feel great about the pitcher, play the stack going against them. That's how I'm going to attack it today. But I just don't think Will Warren is actually good. And maybe he'll prove me wrong today.
Yeah, 6,800 makes me feel a little bit better about it. And also Nick Martinez doesn't really incite a lot of positive ooey gooey feelings either, if we're being honest. And I think that might play into it a little bit where push comes to shove. I'd rather stack against Nick Martinez than play Nick Martinez on this slate. And I kind of feel the opposite with Will Warren. I think the implied total, it's strange to say this too. Baltimore has St. Louis has a higher implied total in Vegas than what you've got with Baltimore. So, I mean, take that for what you will. It's a small 0.2 runs, but that's the way that it actually shakes out on today's slate. And then you add in the strikeout upside, I think, for a Will Warren relative to what I think it could be for Nick Martinez. I think that's kind of where the push and pull for me exists is I'm probably going to end up stack boosting St. Louis because right now they were kind of middle of the road for me, 12.6%. I will be flat at pitcher. I mean, you can see there's nobody that I'm pulling more than 40%. I'll probably take a little bit of this Blanco down, take a little bit of Flaherty up. Patrick Corbett is not going to end up in 25% of my lineups. Don't you worry about that. But definitely think there are ways in which I will get to more Will Warren when it's all said and done. And Nick Martinez will probably get flattened out.
Yeah, I think Warren's numbers don't look that good, but the strikeout stuff is there for sure. 12.6 Ks per 9 versus righties. If you can figure out the positives parts and get just a little bit less bad at giving up crazy hard contact. And, when the numbers are all red in my sheet and it's a smaller sample size, he's probably due for better days. So I'm with you on Will Warren conceptually. I just also think Baltimore is worth their exposure as well, more than they're getting at the very least.
All right, we got some idiots down here. Do you have any idiots in your lineup? Sagano, Sears, Palante. Do you have idiots?
I got Palante No, I didn't get any Palance at all.
Yeah.
Sears, I did want to get a little bit of, but I didn't boost him. I got only 3% of Sears compared to the field's 9. Yeah, Sagano, I got 5% of. Martinez, I did get 19% of. I know you're not a fan of his. We haven't talked about Bryce Elder. Curious your thoughts on him because the Sim didn't give me a
the
lot of them.
Elder Wand from Harry Potter. The Elder Wand.
Tell me about the Elder
snap
Wand.
it in half like Harry did. So there's that. I want to snap this guy in half. He sucks. He's really bad. He's really bad. And he's in Coors Field today. And he is $7,800. He's got a 13% K rate to start off the season. He was at 20.4% at the high end. It is Colorado. The Rockies strike out at the highest clip against righties, and that is including a pretty decent sample size at home. I don't know if I can play over 10% of Bryce Elder today. It is really hard to talk me into that one. I'm more inclined to play Edward Cabrera between the two of them in terms of guys in that 8K, 7,800 range. Edward Cabrera has the best stuff plus on the slate. He also has the worst location plus, meaning he's got a wide range of outcomes facing the Dodgers. It's cool out here in LA. It's around 60 degrees at the moment. It's going to stay that way for first pitch. It's not the best hitting environment. It's certainly not the hitting environments we've come to know where lefty powers played way up in Dodger Stadium over the course of the last 3-year running sample size in Baseball Savant. But Spags, I think the strikeout stuff at least has I would rather get to 10% of him than 10% of Bryce Elder. And we have got this for ownership. This is 15%. I don't know. I think I'm just more inclined to boost Edward Cabrera when it's all said and done.
I think that's fair. And I think it's really one of the big debates I face in my own head every time I'm playing an MLB slate, where sometimes I really want to target the matchups and not DVP wise, this batter went nuts versus the pitcher kind of thing, but looking at the aggregate lineup, looking how they do versus the pitcher, the starter, and what hand he is and all that. I think in that respect, you're getting a really nice spot for Bryce Elder. But the stuff is just infinitely better for Cabrera, 10.8 Ks per 9 versus righties, 10 Ks per 9 versus lefties. By comparison, Bryce Elder, 8 Ks per 9 versus righties and 5.5 versus lefties. So really bad results, in particular versus left-handed bats. And he will be facing at least a few of them in the lineup today. I think Elder's stuff is not good. I think the matchup is a lot better, park aside, I guess, if you can possibly take that. But I'm with you. Cabrera's got better stuff. He's a live pivot at that price tag, and he will be less owned. So I think you're right on the game theory. I think you're right on the talent. Just the matchup for Elder to me, besides the Coors part, it's a good spot for him against a team that just can't get anything going.
It's such a tough push and pull of this slate. Again, this is one of the more fun, enjoyable 6-game slates I can ever remember. I'm actively playing a lot more on this slate than what I thought I would, and I'm really enjoying working through it. I think Edward Cabrera is going to be one of the main pivots for me here. I'm going to probably try to push him right around 15-20% when it's all said and done. I think there's a lot more upside, and I'm considering playing him in my 1-1-1 lineup. I'm actually considering it. Well, we'll see how everything comes together here, and as we get closer to lock, we're 30 minutes away from lock. We'll be able to. I'll be able to let you know exactly where I land on that. I mean, I'm not going to play this slate without Flaherty. I'm really not. That's just kind of what I've decided going into it. And that might put some constraints. And then the stack that I'm playing is a little bit probably contrarian compared to some of the other pieces as well. We'll get there. Anything else that you want to discuss at pitcher on DraftKings before we jump over to FanDuel?
I think Shugano's another guy where we've talked about him on other slates. He's so bad that at a certain point he has to have a game that's not that bad because his numbers are the bottom level of all MLB.
Play him on FanDuel. FanDuel.
Yeah, so maybe on FanDuel it might be a way to do that. But I got 5% in change to Shugano. He's so bad that it can't be that bad forever. Everybody else here, I didn't get any Palance. I think that he'll limit damage as usual, but nothing special. Kind of flat for me at pitcher with the top guys. Blanco and Flaherty in a tier of their own, and then Warren, Corbin. We didn't really talk about Corbin, but Corbin I did get 20% of in change.
Sagano is pulling the absolute lowest ownership over on FanDuel, and I don't agree with it considering it's 6,700 for a guy who's gone 7 innings the last 2. And the way he's going to be successful on FanDuel is that he gives you all the bats. He gives you access to the bats. He gets the quality start bonus, but he's the lowest projected pitcher that we have over on the slate, and there's a reason for it. He has no strikeout stuff whatsoever. He's 35 years of age, so he's not some young Japanese pitcher coming over for the first time. He's kind of a known quantity what he was there, and he's certainly not going to be getting strikeouts going forward at the major league level. But can he pitch? Can he, be somebody who can eat up innings for Baltimore? Maybe. I'm not super encouraged by it, but when you're the lowest owned pitcher who can at least pitch some distance into games, I think it's worth rolling the dice a little bit. My guy Edward Cabrera's at 8K there again. I think that's awesome, trying to target those guys, but they're different, and the pricing's not very good over on FanDuel today because Ronel Blanco is 7,500, Spags.
Yeah, I mean, I think the FanDuel side of the equation, I like Blanco on DraftKings for sure, but on FanDuel it's 7,500. You're talking now 2,100 less than Jack Flaherty. I think the equation gets even more in favor of Blanco. The issue is the ownership goes up with Blanco accordingly, and I'm with you on Shigano on FanDuel too. Only 1.5% ownership going his way, but a 5.5% chance being top pitcher. That's a little bit more appealing on there. But yeah, I think to me, I would definitely want to favor Blanco, even though Jack Flaherty has on FanDuel about a 4% chance higher being top pitcher.
Anything else on FanDuel whatsoever? I mean, Corbin, didn't really talk about it over on DK all that much because I didn't think it necessarily warranted it. Nick Martinez, he's sitting there 7,100. I mean, I can't imagine that I'd want to play him over Blanco or anyone more than likely. Ryan Feltner, not really necessity over on FanDuel by any means. DK, definitely the spot for him. But anything else that you wanted to touch on for FanDuel before we get to stacks?
I mean, for Corbin, I will say, I think you're going to get him a little bit with the sim. I got him 2x the field on DraftKings, a little bit more than that. You got 6 guys that strike out above league average in the Athletics lineup. A lot of dangerous power going against Corbin, who gives up a 200 ISO to righties over the last couple of years and gets hit pretty hard. A 91 mile per hour exit velocity as well. You have some dangerous power for the Athletics, but I think Corbin, to me, is in play on both sites, even though we hate him as a click. He comes up enough, and the projection is not egregiously bad.
All right. Well, this is running over here because I wanted to get another run of the Sims going. We got the Dodgers lineup in nice and early. So we only have one lineup we're waiting on. It is Mahimo Ami. So to speak further to the point, there might not be people who get to as much Miami just because they're the one lineup that isn't out and one lineup to rule them all, one lineup to find them. I think it's in play, but we had this super chat. Can I play Feltner against an Atlanta stack since he's so cheap? This is from Sam Van Dam as well. He's always checking out the shows. Love you, my dude. Does that ever work? It does, but let me tell you, that's like 2-game slate type stuff. And even then, you're threading such a tight needle because what needs to happen? Probably 8 strikeouts for Feltner in 4, gives up 2 quickies, and then they just get the line moving against a bullpen. Like, you're just threading such a tight needle that over any long-term sample size of doing this an entire year, it's just unnecessary. Could it work out for one day? Surely it could.
It's also, you're just trying to capture ceiling outcomes, and you're inherently cutting into your ceiling with that. So if you're paying a big money tournament, playing a big money tournament, I that's like too contrarian, I think, for the kind of fields you're going to be going against.
Yeah, well, we're going to be going to a field in the $5 where percentage to first a little bit higher. So let's continue on talking a little bit of stacks. But first, of course, we've got Portfolio EV. And why is Portfolio EV such an important thing for you guys to be checking out? Well, I can tell you why. Because it can make you money. And that's kind of the whole point of doing these shows. We got a 7-day free trial. Let me move this here again. 7-day free trial going, Portfolio EV. You guys check out Stokastic.com, and you pretty much are going to see OddsShopper going along with it as well. But you go to playback.tv/Stokastic over on the Playback channel. Well, we've got Portfolio EV being shared in real time right now. This is the market-based tool helping you make money. Used to be the cash games of old here in the DFS streets, but those have gotten exponentially tougher. You know what hasn't? Soft sports books, opportunities for you to make money at sports books with Portfolio EV. You are simply identifying all of the best lines, no matter where it is, no matter what state you're in. Then we're using a bunch of other algos to be able to get everything catered directly to you. You can then have the portfolio catered. You could have 2% expected value as your threshold. You could have an OS rating of 3 as your low barometer there. You have an opportunity to piece together winning portfolios. And we got so many tutorials, whether it's from Lofty, Greg Ehrenberg, so many guys that are there to help you make money on a day in, day out basis. And now you got my guy Eitan Shander doing individual shows, showing you how to use the tool. You've got Lofty doing his daily shows, helping you how to use the tools. Check it out, guys. 7-day free trial down at the link below. You don't like it? We'll refund your dollars completely free. Jimmy Butler will play. That seems important to the people. So throwing that out there as well for the NBA show coming up in, 18 minutes. But first, we got to find the stacks for the people, my friend. Where do we start? Where do we even start? Oh, yeah. One stack to rule them all, one stack to find them. Who is going to win me $100K tonight in the 1-1-1?
I think you're going to say it's the Cardinals. Is that where we should go first?
You are correct. That is correct.
I got a lot of Cardinals in the sim. I got 13.3% five-man stacks. That's my most exposed five-man stack. Weirdly, my four-man stacks are incredibly flat today. I have like 6 different teams with 1.3%. Five-man, so clearly defined, getting a lot of Cardinals here. You are getting the park upgrade, going to the great, what do you call it? The Great American Small Park? Is that the
Great American
cool?
Small Park? My favorite.
So the Great American Small Park there, a bit of a park flip as well for the Cardinals hitters. 4.7 implied runs. The Cardinals looks pretty good. I like Nick Martinez. I've said this on a few slates. The pitch count's not great for him overall, only averaging about 40 pitches over the entire sample size of the last couple seasons, but obviously hoping that's coming up a little bit more as the year goes on as well. Doesn't give up a lot of walks, does get a 22% K rate overall. The chase rate's really good at 47%. Swing strike rate's really good at 11.5%. He doesn't get hit hard contact too often, only 25% there. Lowest mark on the slate. Exit velocity of 86 miles per hour, also lowest on the slate. So I think he's a pitcher that's built enough to be able to sustain most situations, even at his own park, and maybe being a little more of a track meet overall. But hard to not get him, hard to not get Cardinal stacks rather going against him. I just got 19% Nick Martinez as well, but I'm getting Cardinals to get him out, and I think they project well. Price tags are good, projections are good, and they're going to come up easily.
Yeah, I'm going to run them one more time here. I'm going to run the lineups one more time here, considering we just got ownership updated. And I just love the fact that we got the Dodgers lineup early. They were just showing up in that last run a lot more than they were the first time around. I know that, to be damn sure. But St. Louis, number 2 for me, and they were number 2 earlier, and they were always going to be number 1 in my heart. The five-man that there's no way in God's green earth I wasn't going to be rolling out today. So looking forward to that. Can't wait for utter failure against Nick Martinez, but what else can you do? Oh yeah, that's just all the Jimmy Butler news and Darius Garland news. There's going to be a lot of things to check out on NBA Live Before Lock with Greg and Josh coming up in 15 minutes, but we continue on our merry way. Spags, we brought up our favorite stack there, St. Louis on my side, and showing up in the Sims for you. Who else do you want to be getting to on this lovely Monday?
I would say the one that's the best combo for me of what I'm getting sim-wise, plus what I think it's hard to ignore in terms of implied run total and all that. Atlanta would be my choice to go with here. Getting a lot more 3-man stacks, a lot of 4-man stacks, good amount of 5-mans as well, 9% there, which is towards the higher end, but not as much as the 13.5% that I was getting for the Cardinals. Feltner, as I mentioned before in the pitcher segment here, and I think to Eric's credit, like Feltner does have some traits that seem positive in terms of avoiding dangerous power for the most part. Home run rate, despite playing in Coors, only 2.6%. So the fact that he's under league average while playing, the majority of his games in Coors is a pretty impressive thing. But Atlanta has so many guys that hit the ball really hard. I mean, Austin Riley, 53.5% hard hit rate, Ozuna, 53.2, Matt Olson, 49. These are amongst the highest numbers on the slate. The back part of the order, too, you have Harris and Eli White, who hit the ball pretty hard as well. The other guys in the lineup aren't very good, but, they'll still get in there as well. I think Atlanta's the team to go to here for me, Eric. But, the Coors thing, it's always hard to ignore, and the run total always gets up so high. It's hard to ignore these teams playing in Coors.
Yeah, I think getting more Will Warren is going to help me out for sure. I think when you're taking a quarter stand on somebody like Ryan Feltner, who is showing up quite a bit, looks like he's come down quite a bit for me too. So that probably, nope, just kidding. He's going to be showing up a ton for me yet again. We'll save top 150. Let's take a look at what we have here, because that's kind of the push and pull of this slate is you get to a little bit of him, and it's definitely going to mute what I'm getting. Yeah, so I'm closer to like around the field there. I boosted him down a tiny bit. Let me get back to this 150 here. Then we'll take a look at the stack ROIs here. Because Colorado, number 1 in terms of stack ROI. They've been absolute dum-dums. But Atlanta, 12.7%, obviously 5-man stack count, pretty much all 5-mans that I'm rolling out there, some 3-mans as well. I'm very much in the camp that Atlanta is going to be a team you want to get to. Can't imagine Houston I want to go nuts with. I mean, lower 5-man stack count going up against Jack Flaherty. Cincy against Palante, a ground ball pitcher who gives up hard contact, but man, 67% ground ball rate on this slate. It's still tough for me to imagine getting to tons of. Obviously, stacking it is a little different than putting together like individual bombers, I suppose, in that ballpark. But how are you feeling about Texas? Because Texas is one that I do have individual batters. I like Wyatt Langford, but I brought this up at the onset of this show. Kevin Pillar, Kyle Higashioka 1-2 are like 2,700 and 2,600. They are going to be so damn popular in lineups today.
Yeah, they definitely came to me a lot, and I think one-offs, some two-man little stacks for Texas as well. They're just too cheap for guys hitting in the one hole and the two hole, especially going against JP Sears, who, I think is not awful, but does give a 50% fly ball rate, a 10.4% barrel ball rate. So you combine those two things, certainly can be dangerous in terms of the power he's given up. Texas itself as a stack actually didn't get a lot of, only 4% five-man stacks, 1% four-man stacks, which is my lowest amount of four-mans. They're tied with a pretty big group of it. I think Higashioka and Pillar both look really strong because of the price tag and hitting at 1 and 2. Getting to Langford, though, at 5K feels like that's a little bit of a bridge too far for me, especially because I do like some of these other lineups. That, Atlanta has a ton of 5K guys. Some of the other teams that we talked about or we'll talk about have them as well. The top two, I think those are probably your cash game play, your cash game mini stack, if you're going to do that.
Yeah, they should. Cash game mini stack. I'm sickly just thinking I might end up playing them in this lineup too. I feel like the biggest chalk donkey ever if I were to do that, but there's a lineup right now that just looks so damn good doing it. And one-time dealer, you can do it, put your back into it. I can do it. Put your into it.
What are you going to put into it, Eric? Please tell us. Graphic detail.
Okay.
Want to sing some Kia as well? Some my neck, my back.
I probably just need therapy every day from now until the end of my time. What am I actually doing?
Finally, he admits it. Taking hundreds of streams. We did it.
Yeah. Go me. We
all do. Men should be comfortable getting therapy and mental health things. That's an important thing. Destigmatize it. We may mock Eric here, but this would actually be a great stride for him.
All right, let's help the people avoid therapy. Who are they not going to play in their lineups today for stacks? Who is a little bit over-owned and not showing up in your lineups?
So the one that, frankly, this is a real debate between me and the Sims, I think. Really, the Orioles did not come up at all. The Orioles did not come up sim-wise for me. 3-man stacks did not naturally come up. 4-man stacks didn't come up. 5-man stacks came up only 1% of the time, which is only ahead of the Dodgers in terms of the 5-man stacks I couldn't afford, mostly the case for the Dodgers here. I still like the Orioles, still like going against Warren, think it's a good spot. But the Sims really hate the Orioles, it seems like. So I'm not there, but I know you're not a fan of the Orioles either. So I feel like you're going to be Team Sims, of course, as always.
Yeah, top 150 as always. Oh, yeah, chalk donkey.
Take the Sims side one more time.
Baltimore 2%, Dodgers 2.6%. This is going to be closer to the way that I end up rolling this out. Houston, that is so much Houston to be getting to. Might have to trim a little bit there, but Dodgers are going to be really overowned relative to their chances of success. And I think just playing Ohtani as a one-off in any day ending in Y makes all the sense in all the land. But on this slate, other than Ohtani, what else do I want to get to? Answer's probably nothing. Not going to play a lot of bets, not going to play a lot of Freeman. It's basically Ohtani and moving along with your life. He does everything. Kind of have the entire stack covered. Nothing like a little 2-2 showing up at the top of the simulated ROI for you to really get your day, to really pump your blood. But I am in the camp, my friend, that we probably want to get to a little bit less of the Dodgers when it's all said and done, purely because of some of these price tags.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to get there with, your top 4 hitters all at least 5K, and the top 3 are all 5,500 more, and Ohtani 6,500. Man, it would be nice to be able to play Ohtani and Aaron Judge in every lineup. That'd be good if you could pull that off.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? But Darius Garland not going through pregame warmups, so take him out.
Ty Jerome,
yeah, I honestly probably want to get some Ty Jerome in now while we can before.
Well, it's a 7:30 start time, so you're fine.
I know, but we're on a show right now, and I'm trying to be.
I thought you meant for your DFS lineup. So I was like, I think you'll have enough time to be okay DFS wise. Yeah. Bet wise, you gotta.
I talked about that earlier today. Ty Jerome, definitely somebody you can pay attention in the single game parlay streets, but didn't end up pulling the trigger on it myself. Ty Jerome, Strus, and DeAndre Hunter also going to benefit quite a bit as well. So we'll let the guys cover that in 9 minutes. That is Josh Engelman, Greg Ehrenberg taking you up to lock, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm doing the math, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, or 4:30 p.m. Pacific when it starts. Good job, Eric. Math is hard. What an idiot. What an idiot. Jordan Beck, Brenton Doyle, Rules, all of these guys just showing up a ton. Mickey Moniak. There's just so many good outfield options here. Is there a position where you're getting to somebody that's just like an uncomfortable click? Because I got one.
I got a lot of Matt Olson, got 30% of him at first base, which again, I like the Atlanta stack. They're coming up a lot sim-wise. I get it. That's a lot of one guy being 3x the field on. Got a lot of Ozuna too, 23% of him. That two-man group, and then Harris on top, 24% of him. That's like a really chalky little trio that I'll have for Atlanta. The other guy's still going to be decently owned as well, but Olson stands out to me as my highest owned guy on the slate. It looks like besides the pitchers.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson. Why am I getting so much Jacob Wilson? The world may never know. He doesn't really walk ever. I think he has one walk all year now. Is that still the case? I think he had one. The day that I brought up the fact that he had 0 walks was the first day that he got walked all year long.
That's how that works. You've been doing this long enough.
I guess. I mean, you say it every show, it eventually happens. But I mean, I said it one show and it happened. It was unbelievable. But I'm definitely going to probably trim that back a little bit. Some of the A's. So weird not to be stacking against Patrick Corbin ad nauseum today, but here we are playing a ton of St. Louis, playing a ton of Colorado, playing a bunch of Atlanta. Don't really have room for a ton else. And obviously Dodgers, the one team that I'm really, really going to trim, but Yankees might get to a little bit here in the next 12 minutes here before we get to lock. But I think that kind of does it for the stack portion. Let's take a look at FanDuel for the people as well. I've got the top stacks tool over there, but you probably know by now, a little bit easier to get to some of these main batters that we have in our lineups. Look at this. Ohtani, 44% ownership, and your boy Aaron Judge, 37% ownership. That's more than on DK Spags.
Yeah, just play on FanDuel, I guess. That's where you could actually play the fun guys, but it's a lot. I mean, Judge is at 22% on DraftKings. I only got 18%. So that's
the fun guys.
A lot more for Judge. That's fun. Yeah. It's fun. You really play Shigano at pitcher, and then you can easily afford Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, we're all going to die, aren't we? No, I was just doing the Kawhi Leonard. I'm a fun guy. I like the game of baseball.
Take your Gatorades off the table, too. No free ads.
No free ads. None. Boardman gets paid. Ready to do the home run thing.
Looking at FanDuel top stacks, by the way, Atlanta, I think, looks even better there. They're basically flat leverage-wise. I think they're my favorite play on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, they look even better, I think.
All right. So everybody hit the like button because I'm going to ask Chris Baggs to do something on the fly. We want his improv skills. We need his improv skills. Puppet Lindquist, can you please sing a song for this graphic?
Dong of the day! Dong of the day! When you're looking for a dong, here it is, not in Eric's mouth. It's a dong of the day! Do, 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 do. Lasers! I could have done that better, like coming out of Eric's mouth. That would have been fine, because then you're saying it. Yeah, that's improv for you.
So that's the Dong of the Day song now. I kind of like it. I knew you were going to crush it. I don't know how I knew. I just did. So now let's give the people a dong that is going to go dong so that it actually lives up to the dong hype or something.
I mean, the dong, Puppet Lindquist says it comes out of your mouth, or it's whatever. I don't know what he was saying. He's saying a lot of things. If you want to go first, you can. I don't think we're gonna have the same pick.
I'm good. I think all you.
All right, I'll take Gunnar Henderson. We talked about it here. I always love when I get to go against the sim and probably watch my money just be lit on fire immediately. We got NBA slate, so I'm gonna play some Baltimore. I'm gonna play some Gunnar Henderson. I got 11% of him naturally in the sim anyway, so he's a player that the sim approves without having boosted anything. Got more of him with my boosting. So Gunnar Henderson against Will Warren. Will Warren is not very good, I think. I hope.
Oh my God. Gunnar Henderson, he's actually shown up a little bit in the Sims for me. He was the one Baltimore Oriole that was. So I'm kind of happy about that one. Don't mind that whatsoever. I'm going to my boy. He better go yard because he's in that lineup of mine. Brendan Donovan. If you could just continue doing what you're doing, the highest launch angle sweet spot percentage of his career, around 44%. What does it all mean, Basil? It means he's hitting the ball high and far. Now, only an 8.6-degree average launch angle, but when he's hitting it hard, he's finding that 8-degree to 32-degree sweet spot that we're looking for doubles and triples. And obviously those play down in Great American Small Park. So preferably hit it high enough to hit it over that wall, Brendan Donovan, and we should be just fine. So check it out, everybody. Those are our dongs of the day.
Also, can I point out Joseph Ramirez in the chat pointing out a thing that I don't think anybody else would pick up on, even you doing the shows with me. I have on my dong picks for the last 2 weeks, every single day, it's been the players around my player hitting home runs. Including today, you finished, top 3 with Lindor. It's been the guy in the 1 hole if I pick the 2 hole guy in the 4 hole if I pick the 3 hole. So it's everybody around Gunnar Henderson is what.
Congratulations to both of them, Adley and Cedric. You can do it. Put your back into it. They can do it. Put your ass into it. Anybody else that wanted to throw things out there? I think very deeply. That is very nice to know. Wagaman, big torpedo dong. Wowzer. That's
spinning around,
getting dongy with it. No. Mullins it is. There you go. Nice, Kevin. And that will round out our show here today. Hit that like button on the way out, but you don't have to go anywhere if you want to check out some great NBA coverage. Greg Ehrenberg, Josh Engelman coming up right here on the Stokastic YouTube channel. Don't touch that dial. Thank you, Spags. Oh, tell the people where to find you on the way out.
Follow me at Chris Spags. Check out my channels. If you want NFL best ball content, at Splash Play Pod. If you want NBA DFS content daily and prop bet stuff, at Splash Play Bets. Dong of the day. Woo woo. Dong of the day. Dong of the day. Dong of the day. Dong.
I'm ending the stream. Bye, everyone.